Good afternoon. I was enjoying that music. Welcome to Midweek with Women of Color. Today I am joined by Fayon Lutz, Systems Security Engineer of the United States Air Force. How are you doing today?
Good morning, or
How
rather,
are
good
you?
afternoon, depending on your time zone. It's good to see you again, Miss Chews.
I
How are
know, it's
you?
wonderful. It's really nice when you get to see people at the actual conferences and then you get to follow up. So it works nicely. Now, you're a previous award winner of the Women of Color Conference. And before we get started today, we'd like to share with the audience the award that you won last year. So we'd like to play our video.
I am proud to present Ann Lutz.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening, sir. It is an honor to be recognized among women engineers with support from our supervisors and coworkers. Thank you. I graduated with an ABET accredited engineering degree from the Merchant Marine Academy, and our football team beats Coast Guard every year. My high school dance team coach had a huge influence on me. She passed away last April from cancer. Cheryl was cheerleading captain for the Washington Redskins, now the Commanders, and a disciplinarian. She would not let us get away with anything. Even so, when I had to miss dance camp to attend summer pre-college engineering courses, she still promoted me to co-captain my senior year. I dedicate this award to my coach in heaven, Cheryl Olachek, Mom and Dad who immigrated from Vietnam. Ava, my daughter, I love you. Mommy loves you. God bless America.
That is really a powerful speech that you gave. And, we're also proud of all that you have accomplished. And, doing the work that you do is not easy. And so we're really excited for you and glad that you're part of the Women of Color family. How has receiving the award at the Women of Color Conference impacted your personal and professional life?
Well, first, thank you again for having me on your show, and thank you to Miss Nikki Stevens, who is working behind the scenes with you, Miss Chews, on all of this. Um, I just want to say thank you. I'm so honored to have been recognized and to share the stage with so many other deserving women in the same category. And I also want to thank again Colonel Antoinette Gant, who at the time she was the U.S. Army Corps of Engineer Commander, South Pacific Division, for traveling all the way to Detroit for presenting that award. And if you notice in the video, it was very subtle, but in the military, we have this thing called an RMO, a round metal object. So tip is always to bring a coin, to say thank you to whoever your presenter is if you're an award recipient. So that was really an honor to do that as an Air Force veteran to an active duty Army colonel at the time. And so also I wanted to, I'm so proud and also want to shout out to the other award recipients that we shared the stage with, Ms. Donna Merriman, who works at Defense Contract Management Agency, and also with Ms. Andra Homer, who won from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers in the Sacramento district. So it was really neat to meet these amazing women and to share our story with you and with whoever's listening, and hopefully to influence the younger generation of engineers.
And that's powerful because you get to take those, I call them MIPs, memories in progress, right? And you get to hold on to that for a long time and share it with your friends and your family because it's rare that that women of color get to stand on those stages and to be able to show the world how capable we really are, right?
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
What would you advise the future recipients on how to leverage this recognition for their own personal and professional growth?
Yes, ma'am. So, again, thank you for this opportunity. I'm one of so many other women out there who've worked so hard for our STEM degrees, or just having experience, years and years of working in the field. So, for the younger generation, for the award recipients, take every day, enjoy your time at the conference. This is an amazing conference. It's not just exclusive to women of color. In 2022, when I was there, I noticed in the audience supporters, bosses, men, and we all get the same continuous learning points when we go out to the breakout sessions during the conference. So when I came back, I wrote a trip report for my leadership. And I also got to network with other engineers from the state of New Mexico in Detroit. So to meet, other engineers that worked in our state, we bonded right away. It's like, oh, you're working in New Mexico, and this is great. And we get to represent, and we also get to share stories about some of the challenges that we deal with. And really, I think it's not, again, the challenges that we experience when we talk to our coworkers and colleagues. It's both male and female. It's really the same challenges we face. I find that men too deal with some of the same challenges that I face. So it's not just exclusive. And really, for our supporters out there, please go to one of these conferences and support your award recipients or your nominees. It was amazing to see other award nominees, their units showed up in force, and I saw men and other women show up just to support. And again, we get the same continuous learning points. There's also the career day, which I love because that's another opportunity for the younger generation to practice your interview skills, to fine tune your resume. And even if you're still in college, it's good to just get out there to see, you're not going to be a student forever. So it's good to get out there and network and get business cards and see what is the best fit for you when you start your career.
Well, and your career is really serious. You have earned a U.S. patent. What is that? 6,109,564 for your team's electromagnetic sliding space environment protection satellite door design. We've got some folks. NASA's got 2 people up there on a doggone satellite now. I mean, that's real deep, right? That's so cold-blooded. And there's a woman up there with them. Can you talk about that? It's really exciting, actually.
Yes, ma'am. So volunteer opportunities for anybody who's listening. You never know when you volunteer to do a STEM outreach program. This was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where many, many years ago, when I was a brand new lieutenant in the Air Force, the research lab had an outreach program. And this was before STEM became an acronym, so I'm dating way back. But the great news was that my second year volunteering, these were high school kids from El Dorado High School. So if you're still watching, and I am scheduled to meet again with the teacher from, my goodness, like almost 30 years ago when I worked with her. We put the teacher's name on the patent as well as the students.
Oh, I love it.
So throughout the year, we help these students design, test, and go live and present whatever project they worked on. So that particular year, we chose, hey, let's design a satellite door. It's an open shut case, right? Real simple. And at the end of the day, because of connections in the research lab and because we have patent attorneys, and oh, by the way, for the engineers, a career path is most patent attorneys, they have an engineering undergrad degree. So it's really cool that you can go that route. But our patent attorney worked with us, and I made sure all the paperwork was put in and all the students' names were on there. The other mentor, Wes Turner, Wes, if you're watching, it was great working with you and the teacher. And we worked with these kids throughout the entire school year. And how many high school kids, can say on their resumes before going to college that they have a patent, and that huge number, 6 million, whatever number, the U.S. Patent Attorney Office, they just assigned us a number. That was back in 1999 when that was when the patent was granted. So I'm sure the U.S. We have so many great innovators in the U.S. and I do want to kind of pause and say that because today is September 11th to honor and remember everybody whose lives were lost that day and the families. But in the United States of America, we have so many opportunities, and one of them is to be inventors. You don't have to have an engineering degree to do that.
I love that, because here's one thing that's added on here, that you lead $1 million artificial intelligence project identifying hazardous materials in Air Force weapon systems, significantly reducing processing time from years to minutes. And you've mentored high school students, as you mentioned, and volunteers with elementary school and in the wonders of STEM. That's so powerful because you're passing it on, right? And
yes, ma'am. hopefully some of that will stick.
It's sticking, girl.
I mean, when we leave this world, what do we want to leave behind? Something to help our nation get stronger, smarter. And I think, for kids to really have an interest in the STEM career field, it plants a great seed. And I know it is a national security issue to have more engineers. We don't want to be hiring from other nations. We want domestically, organically grown engineers. And I think it's an important message to get out there because, the one thing we have in common, the only thing we have in common with our adversaries is time. That's the one thing that we all have that's the same, is time. And so whatever time I have here, one of the things I carve out is STEM outreach. And I do that with my child, and in her classroom, as well as the other schools throughout the state of New Mexico. So it's a great honor and opportunity to get out there and demo all the different technologies that we have.
But see, it requires people such as yourself, that why women of color is so important, that we have people like you and other winners who've made the investment with our communities, with the young people, and with our coworkers. And so thank you for all of the work that you've done and being a participant. And now you're part of the Women of Color family. You realize that now, don't you?
Thank you. No, it's such an honor. Such an honor. And it's so good to see you again.
Yes, and it's wonderful seeing you. And I'll see you, in a couple of weeks, couple of days? We're going to be in October?
Hopefully, I won't be able. Right, I won't be able to make it this year, but I'm hoping that will open up a spot for supporters and supervisors and coworkers to show up in force and support your award recipients.
Exactly.
And get your CLP points.
That's exactly right. And you still need to bring the rest of your crew, send them. If you're not going to come, you got to send somebody in your stead. All right.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. My bosses are watching, so hopefully.
Thanks so much.
We'll plan.
Really appreciate you.
Yes, ma'am.
Keep doing what you're doing. We're really proud of you.
Thank you. It's
for
so
being
great
part of the Women of Color STEM conference.
Thank you, ma'am. It's so great to be on again. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this.
Yes. And thank you very much. We'll be right back with our next interview. Bye, Ann.
Here are 6 reasons why you should attend the Women of Color STEM conference. 1. Meet experts and influencers. WOC attendees come from all rungs of the career ladder. While you won't necessarily meet your business idol, you will meet accomplished women who are experts in their field, one of whom might just be your next mentor. 2. Break out of your comfort zone. Sessions like the Woman to Woman, Up Close and Personal is one example of the type of event that will challenge you to look at your career in a whole new way. It is just the type of event you need to forge new ways of thinking. 3. Educational opportunities. WOC seminars and workshops offer new ideas and trends, exposure to different point of views, new ways to be more productive, opportunities to learn from others, and ways to improve skills and knowledge. 4. Networking with peers. WOC offers opportunities to mix and mingle and form new relationships. It is a valuable resource for best practices to uncover new ideas and spark inspiration when you get to know each other over coffee, lunch, or cocktails at a WOC event. 5. Position yourself as an expert. Frequent attendees to WOC are often asked to lead workshops at the conference. This goes a long way in establishing you as an expert in your field. You'll boost your reputation among your peers, clients, and employer. They'll feel good about their association with you. 6. Have fun. Enjoyment while managing career growth can be rewarding and fun. A little fun with interesting people can be very powerful.
Welcome back. We are so excited to Midweek at Women of Color. I'm your host, Marcia Jews, and I'll tell you, we've started off the day in just great things happening in talking and listening to some of our past winners and current winners. The Women of Color conference is so powerful and the information is just great. We have our next interview is with Penny Harris, who holds a BS and MS in electrical engineering from Tuskegee University and Georgia Tech. With 26 years at HP, Penny currently serves as a principal technical program manager. She's passionate about diversity in tech, and she enjoys mentoring women in STEM by sharing her career journey. She resides in Houston, Texas. And I'm telling you, she's going to be with us in a second and will share with us the coming of our upcoming conference and the importance. Hi, Penny. How are you?
Hello, Marcia. How are you?
I am wonderful. It's wonderful to see you.
Yes, same here. First time here, and it's great to meet you.
Yes, and we're looking forward because now that you're sitting here, you're going to have to come to the conference itself, right?
I will be there. I am a moderator, so absolutely I will be there.
Oh, that's even better. So thank you.
Absolutely.
So can you share with us the seminars that you've had the honor of participating in the past? What type of seminars did you host?
Actually, this is my first one, Marcia. So
I love it.
right out of the gate, because there was an opportunity at HP, because we're one of your diamond sponsors, and they were looking for folks to come out and speak, and I raised my hand.
I love it. And that's the only way that you can get heard. You got to raise your hand or talk loud, right? You cannot just be quiet and sitting on the side and nod.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm super excited about it because like you said in my bio, I'm very passionate about women of color in tech because of course I am one. So
Yes.
why not take that opportunity to go to this wonderful, this seminar and see what I can bring out of people.
I love it. Now, what type of meaningful relationships or collaborations that you've built through your involvement with the Women of Color?
Well, mostly the folks that I have been involved with are my colleagues, right? And what actually spun out of that is, every corporation has pockets that you might want to improve. And so we basically just started our own, little meetup where we talk about careers, and not only for those that are coming up, but for those at the higher levels. Because sometimes I think people at the higher levels are forgotten about because it's a little bit of a different path, because we know the career path is not a straight one, right? And so just doing little things like that within my company just helps us out overall.
That's very interesting. How did that begin? What occurred? Somebody stirred that pot, right? Right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, well, it's, when you're in the beginning of your career, I think that the different steps I think are a lot clearer, right? It's like you get your degree, you find a good job and you find an interest level. But after you're in your career, you start getting mid-level, then I think the landscape changes and you have to look at other things beyond just doing your job. And I don't think that's talked about enough, right? Making sure you have sponsors, making sure the work you're doing is visible to the right people. Because when you get after, like being mid-level, it's like not only who you know, but who knows you. What are they saying about you when you're not in the room? And I also like to add, what are they saying when you're in the room, right? And
Mm.
so that those types of conversations have been sparked, and yeah, that's why we did that.
I want to go back to when you're not in the room, but also when you're in the room.
Absolutely.
Now, how does that operate when you're in the room and the conversation, they're stirring the pot? What?
Well, the way I like to put it, and you've often probably heard where you could be in a conversation, and again, this is tech, and sometimes it's more male dominated. Our voices may be a little bit muted times. And so you have to have the wherewithal to make sure your voice is heard while you're in the room, right? You don't want to, cower or whisper or not be seen. And so those are the things, we have to talk about that aren't talked about enough, I don't think. So that's what I mean by when you're in the room.
I think what's also important is that we have to be in the room,
Yeah.
and we also need to bring people to the room.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. As they say, lift as you climb.
Yes, and we have to do that.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what are three things that you think women should be thinking about when they're coming out of college and they're starting that first tier of work?
Right.
What three things that they should be cognizant of?
Right. Like I said before, those hard skills, like what it takes you to get there, you need to go beyond that. Some of the things that I talk to my mentees about is like, what does your executive presence look like? Sometimes talking to some of my mentees, they like executive presence. How are you showing up?
Mm.
Right? How are you getting noticed? So that's one thing that I really try
Mm.
to emphasize. What is your executive presence? And with,
Let-
yeah,
Let's hold that thought right
yeah,
there.
yeah.
What's your executive presence? What does that entail? Does it include the way you dress, the way you stand, how you enter a room, how you meet somebody who is a senior executive? What's the preparation in your bio or whatever? If you're going into a meeting, people understand who you are and what you're bringing to the table. How does all that? How do
All
you
it's
store all that together?
all of that together, exactly. Because when I have executive presence, it's almost something that you just feel, so to speak, from a person because they're commanding your attention without being direct about it, right? Because they've got something that they want to share, some information that they want to convey that will, is mostly for the business or for tech. But you have to be able to command that room in order to get that. And sometimes that takes time to be able to develop that. And that's why when I talk to my mentees, I give them examples like, give me your 5-minute elevator pitch or something to just catch them off guard how well do you know yourself to be able to give something like that or to have that executive presence. And when you ask me about three things, number two for me before I get off of that is that emotional intelligence as well, right? The emotional intelligence, I believe, gives you the strength to be able to have that executive presence.
And when we talk about executive presence,
Mm-hmm.
how do you navigate that high executive,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And have the strength or the intestinal fortitude to go into that next
Yeah.
level and to develop those relationships, because you need to be seen. People need to know what you're doing and how well you're doing it. How do you navigate that? Because that was difficult for me back in the day when I was a youngin.
Yeah, I think that's where risk taking comes into play, but it's a calculated risk. And what I often tell my mentee is that if there's this project or something that's very visible, maybe to the senior leaders or some of the stakeholders, put your name in the hat, right? Or do some of those where you actually get that visibility, right? And you will start to see, oh, well, they think a little bit different than maybe the developers when it comes to the business as a whole. And you'll be able to speak that language better, right? But you must take that risk to be able to go into those places.
I understand that. And one of the things that's really serious here is that these young people have a lot that they don't know about,
Mhm.
that they need to actually be able to work together with their senior executives. That's a difficult thing to do,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
Right.
So to be able to penetrate those different levels, and you've got to go up that ladder.
Right.
Is it volunteering and participating so that people see you en masse?
Absolutely. Along with the projects, why don't you just have some just basic one-on-ones with your leader? One thing we have that a lot of other companies have, you just do some skip level one-on-ones. Make sure you understand what your leadership is thinking and how you can add value to that. And that can be done at any level,
Mhm.
right? And so that's one of the things that as easy as that, get with your leader's executive assistant and say, hey, I really want to understand what keeps my leader up at night, and just have those conversations, and you'd be surprised how far they can take you.
I love it. Now, when you look at your career and looking at what HP is doing, because they've been a leader in
Yeah.
this industry,
Yes, absolutely.
what is the AI part? How are you all dealing with this artificial intelligence?
In 2 words, very carefully.
What is it? Step by step, right?
Yeah, yeah. One of the things that we pride ourselves at HP is that when it comes to AI, we are, we're the number one PC maker in the world, and we are starting to use that to embed that into our PCs, right? You hear things like Copilot and things like that, and so we're staying ahead by embedding it into just about everything that we make, as a technology company.
That's deep. And, we do want to acknowledge the fact that 9/11
Yes.
and what all we went through in this nation
Mhm.
and how many people we lost
Correct.
during that time. And we continue to pray for their families.
Absolutely.
But I must say, I have a HP at home
Thank you
and
for
I love it. I absolutely love it.
that. Thank you. Thank you.
So tell us three things for someone that's 20 years younger, they're in high school, just beginning, and what would you say to them to get them on track in this whole field of STEM?
If there were three things, I would say do your research. Do your research, because don't just hop on the hottest thing out there. Do your research. Pick something that you actually enjoy. Some technology, something that you don't mind waking up in the morning and doing every day. Honestly, do that. And this may sound funny, last but not least, is take risks. Because that's one of the things I don't think I took enough of when I was a younger person in tech, right? Is to take those risks, because to me, there's no such thing as failure, but it's always about learning.
It's always about learning.
Correct.
And you can start right where you are.
Exactly.
Okay. Penny Harris, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, this was great. I cannot wait to perhaps see you face to face at the
You
conference.
will see me in a couple of weeks. So
All right.
thank you so much. We
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, Marcia.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for this intriguing conversation. And we can't wait to sit in and listen to all the wonderful seminars coming up in October. And we hope that we're going to see all of you there. And that is really in the first weekend of October. So we'll look for you in Detroit. Thank you so much. I'm Marcia Jews. We'll be with you next week.
What if you could build your own city? A place where every child can find nurturing people to help them achieve their full potential. A place where every adult can access job training support. Where health education is abundant. Where social justice ruled the land. A place without limitations. Welcome. You have arrived at STEM City, USA. It is what every city should be. A safe and trusted community where you find people and resources to help you become everything you are and beyond. STEM City is unlike anything you have ever experienced. It is a digital twin of the world around you, only better. STEM City is about energy and soul renewal. It is more than a digital world. You can almost feel the power of live cultural events, music, and theater. STEM City promises a better future for children with caring mentors and hands-on activities with dedicated tutors to support our youth. STEM City is your passport to a healthy lifestyle with weekly events addressing our community's many issues. STEM City is your financial well-being with helpful information on wealth management, career advancement, job training, and so much more. STEM City is the community you deserve. It is the city where your dreams can come true. STEM City USA, a place in the sky that is accessible to all who reach for the stars.